Hello, hello, Just Gem here and welcome, or indeed welcome back to my channel. It's been a minute, I'm sorry guys, but life has been lifing and I've just been tired. I hope you haven't forgotten me, I'm still here, I am. I don't know how much I'm going to be posting over the next month and a half or so. I'm going to film and edit where I can and try to stick to my Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday schedule. But there are no guarantees. I think things will be calmer in the summer, so like July, August, possibly into September, but we'll see. My window is open, so if there's any additional noise, I apologise in advance, but I want the fresh air, so sorry about that. We're kicking things off with a scratch that itch. And I'm not going to lie, this is more for my benefit than anything else because I need some serious talking to because I'm genuinely considering purchasing this palette. And I don't know why, because it's not an indie brand, it's a high-end brand and I've never purchased anything from this brand before at all. Not even mascara. I think any mascara I happen to have had from the brand has been some kind of sample or a freebie. I did the swatches and I didn't recall the name of the palette, so let me find the name of the palette right now. Why is it not on the Lancôme official page? Am I missing something? It's really not there. It's the collab palette with Sheika Daley. Lancôme Idôle Café Crush. I'm going to put a picture up of this palette. I just think it's beautiful. It caught my eye and for reasons quite frankly unknown, I decided I wanted it. I haven't purchased it because I wanted to pull out this palette, and I'm not deliberately trying to do scratch that itches where I solely use Beauty Bay palettes, but Beauty Bay have done enough palettes that they could potentially scratch a lot of itches, and Rich is the palette in question today because I think, and I think you'll agree, it's got those tones, hasn't it? It really does. I'm not going to be holding this up throughout because this is quite a chunky beast, but I just want you to see what this palette looks like, and I'll try and put it over here and then put a picture of the Cafe Crush next to it so you can see what I mean. And I'll jump to the swatches now so that you can see them. I don't have the original palette, obviously, because that's the whole point. I want to see if I can get something close. So I don't know how accurate my swatches are, but yeah, here they are. Here they are. I've done what I can based on the limited amount of swatches I've seen and the fact I've seen no swatches whatsoever on a deep skin tone. So a lot of this is a complete stab in the dark. The best swatches I've seen are Charlotte Holdcroft's, and that's predominantly what I based these swatches on. And I think I've got close, but stab in the dark for a lot of this. Stab in the dark. The shades that I have used from Rich, starting from my wrist and going down, are Bisque, Crown, Sequin, Bonfire, Florentine, Muse, Camel, Walnut, Cocoa, Fossil, Shiraz and Galaxy. As I said when I did the swatches, there's not too much to go on. I think I've maybe watched 2 or 3 swatch videos which I thought were decent, and I've seen 2 or 3 reviews. It's hard to dupe when you don't have much to go on, but I don't think I've done too bad a job. And this is my prep work, all the mini swatches that I did along the way to get me to the final set. Do I do one look on each eye? I might do one look on each eye. Why not? Should I prime my lids first? Let's do that. And I'm filming in natural daylight, so if my light sort of dips in and out a little bit, it's because the sun is playing hide and seek. so I apologise for that. Generally it's pretty good lighting, I'd say. The palette was true to colour when I held it up, so in that respect it's pretty good lighting, but it's just the sun's being a bit temperamental, so I apologise for that. I might do one more neutrally look and one where I lean a bit more into the purple side of things. Yes, I think I'll do that. With that in mind, I might start with Walnut. Now Walnut I think is probably the worst dupe. It's too warm, I think, but there wasn't really anything in Rich that matched. Ooh, I guess I'm going for a severe wing there. But yeah, but there wasn't anything that truly matched. So this is perhaps a bit warm, but it's okay. I think I want something fluffier. And this is just an ME8, one of my Made by Mitchell brushes that I'm using here. And I've got the mirror down here, so if you see me looking down, that's why, because it's a hefty palette. I'm not picking that up to look in the mirror. To be fair, blended out, it does look far less orange. So that's not bad. It's not bad at all. And then I think I will go into Cocoa to add a bit of depth. So maybe that initial brush that I was using, so this is Made by Mitchell again, ME10. I did also consider picking up the palette anyway, just to do a bit of a high-end formula versus indie formula. Not that I necessarily consider Beauty Bay to be indie as such, but I've also got Nearly Natural on the way, another reason why I feel I'm not in a position to pick up Café Crush. I do think it would be excessive to already have Rich, have Nearly Neutral on the way, and then pick up Café Crush. It's too much, isn't it? Too much. It's not bad. Shall I zoom you in a little bit? NYX glitter primer perhaps? Now for the shimmers. Shimmer. It's weird, now I've zoomed you in, I don't think you can really see the colour. That's odd. Just about. Bonfire and Sequin maybe? Bonfire and Sequin. It's quite a muted look on me actually. Sequin will add some brightness. I was watching Charlotte Holdcroft actually using this in like a trying new makeup video. Obviously not the Rich palette, the Café Crush palette. And she mentioned, which I suspected, about the shimmers being more subdued, which is again why I thought Rich could be a good dupe for it, because the shimmers in the 42 pan palettes, they're they're pretty, they are, but they're not shimmers on crack. Silicone applicator into Sequin. Okay, that's added a bit of brightness. It was looking a bit flat. Let me just use my little finger here into Sequin. That's better. It's just added a bit more dimension. Let's use a refer number 2. Let me just see if I can tidy that up a little bit. I might use Bisque as the inner corner. I'm also trying something a bit different, because something that puts me off filming sometimes is having to wash my face at the end of the day when I put layer upon layer of makeup on. So I literally just put a bit of concealer on just to try and erase some of the tiredness, and that's what I might do from now on when I'm filming. Instead of doing like a full-on face, just put on a bit of concealer to even out my complexion a little bit, and then it's much easier to wash off at the end. I don't have to be as, I mean, I still have to be thorough, obviously. I want it all gone, but there's just not quite so much of it to get rid of. There's a Wave 230, and I'm going back into, I think it was Cocoa that I used, wasn't it? Yeah. Back into Cocoa. My Zoeva 237, that's my go-to inner corner highlight brush into the shade Bisque. Part of me wants something a bit deeper. I wonder if I was saving Fossil for the next look, but I don't know if there's enough depth on the under eye here, so I might just go into Fossil a little bit. That's a very sort of subtle, definitely more neutral look. As I say, this time I'm going to lean more into the purpley side of things. Using that Fossil shade that I've just mentioned, maybe I'll use my Refer 15 for this. And as soon as I've laid that down, I'm wondering if I should have in fact started with Shiraz and use this to deepen things up. But I've put this down now. Yeah, I definitely should have started with Shiraz. Oops. Bit of a flip. I'm using the deepest shade first. The shade I've attempted to dupe isn't quite as bright as this. I don't know, if I start this again, I feel I've made an error switching these round. I really should have started with Shiraz. I think it kind of works. Definitely should have done Shiraz first, but I think I've kind of pulled it back because the concentration of Fossil is in the centre. I think I pulled it back, guys, I think. And then the shimmers I was going to use are Galaxy and I think Muse. Start with glitter primer, almost forgot. Galaxy. Oh, that's nice. I think this might be working, guys. I think this might be scratching the itch. Because the OG palette is £64 and these Beauty Bay ones, you can often get them for a tenner. The Rich palette, I managed to nab for a £5. Absolute bargain. And if by the end of it I do feel like I have successfully scratched that itch, it's going to make this feel like even more of a bargain. But I genuinely think I'm getting there. From the questionable start, from the blunder I made, putting Shiraz down second, it's coming back. And then I said Muse. Just need to build it up a bit more, I think. Yeah, like so. Oh, I like that. Yeah, I do like that. I may well go back into Bisque for an inner corner. Maybe I'll use Florentine just so I've used a different shade. 230 again, and I'll probably just use a combination of Shiraz and Fossil underneath. I think that's going to work the best. I'm quite glad you can't see my full face, guys, because some of these expressions I'm pulling, just poke myself right in the eye there. Ow. Okay. Florentine for the inner corner on this side. A few people also said that this reminded them of Modern Ren, and I can see that too. I think it's the deeper version of Modern Ren. I'm going to tidy this up, maybe a bit more concealer, mascara and liner, and then I'll be back. I'm done with my eyes, but before I zoom you in to show you the finished look, I thought that I would use a few products that were in the goodie bag from an evening with the Welsh twins that I went to the other day. I was very, very happy because one of the items included was a blurring pudding pot from Twee. I'm just going to close my window while I want the fresh air. That noise is a bit too much. Where was I? Evening with the Welsh twins. Got a VIP ticket, which meant I got a goodie bag. I'll put a picture here because I got to meet them. Yay! And they were lovely, by the way, in case you were wondering. But would you expect anything less? No. As I was saying, one of the items was a blurring pudding pot. And I'm very excited by this because I've been wanting to try these blurring pudding pots since Robert did a collab with Fwee where he had 2 different boxes. And I ummed and ahed just a little bit too long, and then they were sold out. And I've been on TikTok and I've put them in my basket, I've taken them out of my basket, put them in my basket, taken them out of my basket. It's been a repeating cycle, a repeating process. I never went ahead with a purchase, and maybe it was because subconsciously I knew that this would be in a goodie bag supplied by the Welsh twins. Why not? And the shade that I got in the bag was Faded, and it's a lovely solid, that's frosted glass, that little pot, and that's the shade inside, Faded there. So I think that could work quite well. It's kind of like a muted purpley brown shade, so I think that could work. So let's just shove my finger in and see. Ooh, it feels spongy, moussey. Okay. So that was a very small amount because I don't know, never used these before. I don't know how pigmented they are. I don't know how easy they are to blend, though I've heard that they are. So a bit more convincing. Okay, there we go. Maybe I should have gone a bit slower still. I think this is a really good blush to go with this, both of these looks, just because of the tone. And you can build that up. I hope you can see that, it's probably very bright. Should I turn that down a bit? Yeah. It's nice actually. I think one reason why I hadn't gone ahead and made a purchase is just I wasn't sure which shades to get. Because Faded was one I considered, but I didn't know how it would look on my skin tone. And yeah, you can build this up. So this is, So this, I don't know if this would be a blush. I don't know if this would be a blush I would use for filming purposes because it's quite subtle. Having said that, I think I could just keep going in and building it up. But that's nice actually. That is nice. And I think it's quite smoothing as well. Right, do the other side. I won't make you sit through me building this up though, don't worry. Yeah, I like that. And I don't know what's going on with my lighting there. There we go. But yeah, that's nice. It's subtle. You could build it up more than this, but I'm going to leave it at that. I think that's quite pretty. More muted than I'd normally go with my blush, I will say, but that's, yeah, I think it works with this look, so I'm quite glad that I remembered that I had that to put it on with these eyes. And then the other thing that was in there, I don't know if this will go, but we're going to put this on anyway. Tear Waterism Glow Tint in the shade Scotch Shot. I don't know if it will go, but we're about to find out. It might do actually. It does feel like water. It's such a weird feeling when you put it on. Now that it's on, it feels more like a gloss, but putting it on, it felt like water. Really odd, really, really odd. And I wouldn't need a liner with this. If I wanted a liner, I could put a liner on, but I don't think I need one. So this side is just a bit more subtle, a bit more neutral. This is obviously more purpley, more mauvey. I like them both actually. I mean, the purple side is definitely more me. I love a bit of purple. But I'm not mad at this muted side either. And I think I've done a pretty good job in capturing the essence of two looks that you could get from that Café Crush palette. Let me know what you think. All in all, guys, I think I've managed to succeed in confirming that I don't need that Café Crush palette. Before I started this, it's in my basket. It's still in my basket. It's £64, but I've got a voucher because I've never ordered with Lancôme before, so I can get 15% off. And I just think to myself, do I want to pay £64 minus 15% when I've already got this and I can 100% get very, very similar looks, if not the same looks, to be perfectly honest. And this was a tenner. No, it wasn't. It was a £5. I said it before. This one in particular was a £5. I don't know how Beauty Bay do it, to be honest. I really, really don't, because their quality for the price point is insane. It really, really is. It's unreal. I think if you're on a budget and, you know, if you're eyeing up that Café Crush palette, I honestly think you should just get this instead, especially because of the fact that the shimmers are going to be more subtle, they are going to be more subdued. You might as well get this, to be perfectly honest. I really, really think so. In doing this, I have successfully talked myself out of buying that palette, I think. And I was ready to hit that buy button. I really was. I was ready to check out. But I think this is a much better option, more bang for your buck, more than, I mean, 12 shades versus 42 shades. I think it's a no-brainer. I really do. Itch successfully scratched, guys. I'm very pleased with that. Very, very pleased. I'm going to try and do this outro before my battery croaks on me because it's flashing. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I'm sorry if I'm very, very rusty. It's been a while since I filmed, but I will get back into my groove. Probably right at the point when I have to dash off to do other things again. But it's great to be back, even if it's only briefly. As always, thank you for taking the time to watch, and hopefully I'll see you again in a video in the not too distant future. Take care. Bye. Like, the palette was pretty true to colour. True to colour? The palette was true to colour when